Greetings, adventurers, and well met. It is the Master of Dungeons here at the Master of Dungeons Twitch channel, twitch.tv/the Master of Dungeons. My apologies, you probably will hear my familiar meowing in the background. She just woke up. My cat, she's got food down there. She's got water. She's been taking care of all of that. She's just going to whine for a little bit. Um, but here we are. It is Wednesday evening. Time for some Tavern Talks of the Shifty Boar. Where we are currently, we have been the past month or so going over all of the new Unearthed Arcana Player's Handbook or the Unearthed Arcana Playtest materials for the 2024 50th Anniversary D&D books. They're going to be adjusting some of the 5th edition rules, kind of think of like a 5.5 edition, kind of like a 3 and 3.5 back in the day. And just last Thursday, they released the Player's Handbook Playtest 7. And if she gets too loud, I might have to take a small little break here. But they just released this last Thursday. So again, as I mentioned before with the previous playtests, I have not even had a chance to look at it. I don't look at them between streams. One thing you can do if you want to playtest this, you can. This is every playtest they release, they update things from the previous playtests. So this is the player's handbook. They've had a few things for the player's handbook so far. It's got a little bit of discussions, so you can even playtest some of the old rules if you want, but use the glossary in this playtest 7 PDF. You can get the PDF if you go to the Wizards D&D website. I think it's dnd.wizards.com. You can go to D&D Beyond to get the playtest material as well. And plus, if you happen to join our community Discord server down below here on Twitch, if you go into the About Us section, click on the Discord panel, you can join our community Discord server. I have, make sure you click on D&D news and such, and then it'll open up some of the playtest materials. Are all of them are available there as well on one place. If you want, it says right here, of course, if you want to check out the video, there's a new video about it on the Wizards of the Coast website, or YouTube page, I should say. But of course, if you want to playtest any of this material, go ahead and use the 2014 Player's Handbook, the regular 5th edition handbook that's out right now, except where noted in the playtest material. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into this. Of course, we do have this as just chatting. I am a DM with over 40 years of experience. If anyone happens to be watching and has questions about being a DM or questions about D&D, feel free to drop them in the chat here on Twitch. Or, of course, if you join the Discord server, ask questions there in the Discord server as well. I'm happy to help out. Love teaching people how to be a DM. Love teaching people how to play Dungeons & Dragons. So inside here, it looks like we have 5 classes are here. The barbarians, the fighter, the sorcerer, the warlock, and the wizard. So they're touching up on a lot of the classes that were problematic, I guess, in the past. Each of those classes includes multiple subclasses, 2 of which are entirely new. The Path of the World Tree, Barbarian, and the Brawler, and the Fighter. Some revised spells, weapon revisions included. Following sections were introduced in a previous article and are provided here for reference. Feats. Yes, they did change instead of just getting an ASI, like in your class as you normally would, they actually changed it to an ability score improvement feat. So everyone's going to be using feats, so it's not going to be like a variant rule or anything anymore, it looks like. And of course, the rules glossary, if you want to play test any older stuff, I think they've closed all of the chances for you to review them or put in feedback and such. But if you can still play test the older stuff if you want, just use this glossary that's in here, as I mentioned earlier. Playtest talks about that. Power level says some of the stuff might be more or less powerful than the options in the player's handbook. And of course, the feedback they will offer up feedback here in the next couple of weeks for those that have playtested this material, and they'll do what they can to try to refine that based on the feedback of the players, and hopefully it'll appear in an upcoming D&D book. So first, the barbarian, of course, the primary ability is still strength. This is just again a description of barbarians. They do have the rage still. And here's the design updates. Danger Sense returns to level 2. Excellent. And that works even if you have a blinded or deafened condition. And hello, little one. How are you doing? You can't hear me because you're deaf. The reckless attack now grants advantage to your strength-based attack rolls until the start of your next turn. Oh, so that's they changed that a little bit because reckless attack can only be used on your turn, and now it goes until the start of your next turn, which means you can use them on opportunity attacks. Okay. Primal knowledge has moved from level 3 to level 2, level 3 from 2. Action level primal knowledge in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. Instinctive pounces have been imported. Yeah, they're taking a lot of the class features that they added in as optional class features in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. They're adding those to all the. Looks like they're adding most of them to all the classes. So brutal critical returns to level 9 and now deals a d12 extra damage on a crit instead of extra damage dice. So that's a lot higher. So for example, if you used a great sword, you'd add just a die 6 because it's just one extra dice of the damage. If you used a pike, I think it's die 10, it would only add die 10. So now it automatically deals an extra d12, and then it gets high, increases as it gets higher. Let's roll in this rage. It goes back to 11. Persistent rage, return to 15th level. In addition, the feature incorporates the function of rage resurgence, regaining a rage on initiative. That's pretty cool. And they switched most of it back together. Nice. Yeah, they had changed all of these things around and all of that. Like the primal champion, the capstone, basically, because they had, for some reason, were wanting to take their 20th level abilities and at first use epic boon feats, epic feats or whatever, but they're changing that around. They keep saying they're going to bring them back eventually, which hopefully they'll bring them back to where, because they don't have any extra high level stuff like they did in the past editions, like epic levels and things like that. Basically, it's going to be, I think, and I'm hoping that they'll say, once your character, receives, if you're playing experience points, so many experience points, where they would normally gain a level, instead they get this feat. Or if you're using milestones, when a character would normally level, since if they're already at max level, they get a epic feat boon. Still pretty much the same. Talks about multi-classing. All right, rage. We're all familiar with that. Rage. You can imbue yourself with primal power. Let's call your rage a force that grants you extraordinary might and resilience. Can enter as a bonus action provided you aren't wearing heavy armor. Active rage has the following effects. You get damage resistance to the 3 standard types of damage from weapons. Gain a bonus damage to your rage just as normal. You have advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws. You can't maintain concentration, and you can't cast spells. The rage lasts until the end of your next turn and ends early if you don heavy armor or have the incapacitated condition. If your rage is still active on your next turn, you can extend the rage for another round by doing one or more of the following: make an attack roll against an enemy, force an enemy to make a saving throw, take a bonus action to extend your rage. Yeah, they've changed that around, which is nice because if there's nothing around you and you can't take an attack in 5th edition as it stands, and you don't get attacked, your rage ends. So allowing you to go ahead and take a bonus action to extend it is nice because it also doesn't, the way it's worded, will not use an extra use of it. So that's cool. Wow, brutal critical is nice. And you maintain a rage up to 10 minutes. Unarmed defense. While you aren't wearing armor, your base AC is 10 plus your dex and con modifiers. You can use your shield and still gain the benefit. Of course, they are bringing weapon mastery in. If you've played any Baldur's Gate 3, which we'll be streaming tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern, for our dungeon delving stream. They are introducing weapon mastery, so the different weapons that have different properties that you can use, like a pommel strike or a push or things like that with some of them. Oh, and this one only lets you change one of those weapon choices after a long rest. That's actually not too bad, allowing them to just change one of them. Those with the class of weapon mastery allow them to change one of them after a long rest. The only one I could see not that they could change all, change all of them would be a fighter, just because that's the fighter's specialty is weapons. So they're putting a weapon mastery column in here, okay. I like that this even works if you're blinded or deafened, because it's just like a spider tingle. Turn 6 gives you advantage of attack rolls using strength until the start of your next turn, but the attack rolls against you have advantage during that time. Like it. That's really cool for barbs. It's one of my favorite classes. My favorite 5th edition class is my favorite D&D class all time is rogue, but barbarians pretty close. I do like that's really cool for the barbarians. Here it looks like they're dropping the Path of Berserker, Path of the Wild Heart, Path of the World Tree, Path of the Zealot. This is going to be interesting to see what they've changed for the Zealot. I have a little goblin that's a Path of the Zealot, which is really fun to play. I really haven't played a Berserker. The big thing being is that after you go Berserk, you end up having the kind of like an exhaustion or stun after you come out of it. So it'll be interesting to see what they've changed in that. Of course, you get extra features. Okay, power knowledge, you gain proficiency in another skill of your choice from the lists of available barbarians. For me, the reason, again, like I said, I read these for the very first time when I started the stream. I haven't even opened this. I downloaded this from the D&D Beyond website last Thursday, and again, they are just initial reactions. If you go back and watch the previous streams, you'll see that a lot of my initial reactions were things that they actually changed, and I have not put any feedback in. I don't have time to actually play test this with the amount of DMing that I do during the week and writing and all that stuff like that. But for example, this one, it says that you can make an ability check using one of the following skills. You can use your strength if it normally uses a different ability. Now in Xanathar's, they opened up the idea, which was great, and I always use it as a DM anyway, with DM Fiat being able to change the rules. Even in AL, you still could have done it before. And by AL, I mean Adventurers League. For those who aren't familiar, Adventurers League is the organized play system for Dungeons & Dragons and Wizards of the Coast. It basically is rules as written. So you play the rules as written with a few variants that are available to the players and DMs, and then the characters are portable. So you can play your character at a local game store. You can take the same character to a convention. You can take the same character and play it at an online event. All of that, as long as you keep your Adventurers League logs. But for example, they're saying acrobatics, intimidation, perception, stealth, and survival could be used with strength instead if you want to. As a DM, I always advise DMs to let characters do this type of stuff anyway. Mostly because if they can really explain to me how their intelligence is going to help their acrobatics check, and it's a good, creative use of it, I'll almost always allow it. Also, a lot of times you can have, especially if there's a certain check that's listed in an adventure or a module that you're running, you don't have to do exactly what it says in that module. Like I hear a lot of DMs sometimes say, well, this actually calls for a perception check, or this actually for a wisdom perception check, and they are really hard about making sure that the players have to make a wisdom perception check. I always interchange perception and investigation because it's very cloudy kind of how each one of them works. From especially I've seen from the players' perspectives, because some rogues you'll see will specialize in perception, some will specialize in investigation. Obviously, there are two different skills that have different uses. But as a DM, I always recommend that when you are the dungeon master, that you allow players to substitute different abilities for their checks with their skills. So this, I don't know. Not necessarily something that's going to be extremely powerful when it's something that a DM and as a player you can already do. This is just kind of basically forcing DMs to use this type of rule instead of, hey, ability score improvement feat, or another feat of your choice, extra attack, fast movement, advantage on saving or initiative rolls for feral instinct. So instinctive pounce is being added automatically, so when you enter into your rage, you can move up to half your speed as part of that bonus action. Extra damage increases at 13 and 17. All right, please stick around. I want to take a small, short, quick break. Like I said, she's deaf and she's probably wondering what's going on. I'll be right back. Please stick around. All right, sorry about that. She couldn't find her food. Okay, brutal critical, extra damage. Relentless rage, of course. Drop to 1 hit point instead. Each time you use it. Oh, and you finished a short or long rest. I'm not sure if that's the same as it was before, but that's pretty cool. For real initiative, have no uses of rage remaining. You gain 1 expended use of it. All right, pretty much the same. There's a couple small changes there. That's pretty sweet. Like I said, the only thing that I really looked at was like, it was iffy. Like maybe substitute something else instead. It's just this whole thing of when you're raging, you can use strength as your ability score with these skills instead. But I mean, that's just a minor thing. It's not that big of a deal. Okay, so let's check out the Path of a Berserker. This is one of the paths from the Player's Handbook, the 2014 Player's Handbook, that is not often played. And I think they're doing trying to change a lot of stuff around to perhaps maybe entice players to play these classes. They've done a lot to nerf paladins. to kind of force them to have to use their, for lack of a better word, crappy smite spells, because paladins always would divine smite instead of using the smite spells, because the smite spells aren't really that great. We'll see what they've done to the berserker here. It says intimidating presence is now a bonus action rather than an action. Okay. There's the frenzy. Do extra damage to the first target you hit with a strength-based attack. So you'll do extra damage to the first target you hit on a turn. And what they used to do is they used to give you an extra attack. And when you came out of your berserker rage, you would be stunned. Very similar to like coming out of a haste. I like the mindless rage. Retaliation is interesting. That's what they were talking about when they said that you could use your reckless attack until that'll last until the beginning of your next turn. That's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. I like the intimidating presence. That's pretty cool. There are a number of classes that can do similar things to that. And it is only a bonus action as well, which makes it a little bit more powerful than some of the other classes that have a feature similar to it. All right, Path of the Wild Heart is the other barbarian subclass. It used to be called, of course, the Path of the Totem Warrior. Okay, here are the changes. Animal Speaker, formerly called Spirit Seeker, now has its spellcasting ability specified. Rage of the Wilds, formerly called Totem Spirit. Contains revisions to each option. Bear no longer grants resistance to all but one damage type. The former design was too powerful. It now allows you to gain resistance to 2 damage types of your choice. Eagle lets you take both the dash and the disengage action when you activate your raise as a bonus action. So again, as I mentioned before, it lets you take both of them. You can dash and disengage. Aspect of the Beast, Aspect of the Wilds. Elephant form of the bear now grants proficiency in athletics. Okay. See, like, here's another thing. Again, these are just my initial reactions. It was bear, eagle, and wolf all the way through for the different ones, and now they're changing them to have different things as well. So now they're adding elephant, owl, and spider, and now they're changing it to then when you get even more choices, they have lion, falcon, and ram. Okay. Elephant now grants proficiency in athletics or insight skill, which most likely is going to be insight. Consider, well, I guess if you already have it, you can grant expertise in athletics. So now they just give you a skill. I get that idea. That's a pretty cool idea. Interesting. But you should definitely make sure that they are skills that I would suggest to get rid of the whole expertise thing and make it skills that a barbarian you normally wouldn't have access to. Again, just me though. because stealth and survival, almost every barbarian has stealth and survival. I mean, it does give you expertise in those skills. So I guess it would pick, you'd only pick one of those. See, that right there just basically gets you a free skill compared to other level 6 abilities. That is extremely weak. Extremely weak. The level 6 aspect of the wilds is completely horrible. Just gives them a skill, or it gives them an expertise in that one skill. So many other subclasses, when they get like their second stage, level 6 or whatever, they get something really, really awesome. That just gives you a skill or expertise. That's really underwhelming for me. Form of the bear's no longer stopped by immunity to the frightened condition. Fly speed while your rage is active. Provided you are wearing armor, and ram no longer uses your bonus action, requires a saving throw. Cast Beast Sense and Speak with Animals. You activate your rage, choose 2 types of damage other than force or psychic. That I can see. I could, because the, bear totem or path of the bear, whatever you want to call it, for your rage, that was pretty overpowering because it basically made you resistant to all damage except for psychic. So you had resistance to fire, to cold, to thunder, to lightning, to necrotic, to poison, everything except for psychic damage. So I'd like that idea. The only thing I would say is, like, for example, this crap here, instead of changing it to elephant and owl and spider or whatever, they should take that to where, like, for example, if you and still leave it bear, when you get here, you get a couple extra resistances when you rage, instead of, hey, look, you get a skill. And like this, as I mentioned before, this is really powerful because it gives them both of these actions as a single bonus action as part of your rage. You activate your rage, and as a bonus action while it's active, you can take both the disengage and dash action. That is extremely powerful. So basically, when you activate your rage, you automatically, as part of that bonus action, can disengage from an enemy and then use your dash action to move away at your full speed. And then you still have your own move action, and then you still have your attack action. See, this would be a situation, again, getting rid of the skills, getting rid of the idea of elephant, owl, and spider, to actually just keep them bear, eagle, and wolf. And consistency, as I said before, if you go back and watch the previous streams for the Tavern Talks on Wednesday evenings, my whole thing that I talk about all the time is the consistency. And they always talk about how they want to make things easier and not as confusing and such, but then they'll throw in something like this that changes things around. So like what I would suggest is changing this back to eagle, and say when you get to level 6 aspect of the wilds, you can, like the first time you get the dash action. So you can rage, then you can dash, and then move and stuff like that, because a lot of times for barbarians, it's really hard for them to get into combat if the combat starts and the opponents are farther away, especially with the old way that rage, the current way that rage works. You rage, you move, you dash, and then things happen where there's nothing within range for you to attack, so you would lose your rage. So what I would suggest for this would be, okay, when you activate your rage, and as a bonus action while it's active, you can take the dash action. And then when you get to level 6, okay, now not only can you take the dash action, you can also take the disengage action to make it, something there, because this is just way too powerful, in my opinion, at least as a DM, and I've been doing it forever, for a level 3 especially allowing 2 actions as a bonus action and part of the bonus action when you rage. That is just insane. And this, they changed it. I still think they need to put it within 5 feet. And then what they could do is they could get rid of the skill proficiency here and change this again from spider to wolf, and then you can let it start extending the distance away that the enemies are. Commune with nature is all right. I would rather see them be able to summon, like a summon beast spell or something like that, because shoot, rangers can summon a beast. Give a barbarian a chance to summon, because like for example, Beastmaster, classic movie from the '80s, awesome. You don't think of Dar, the main character, as a ranger. You think of him as a barbarian. I mean, that's the whole idea. Then to be able to summon a beast companion situation instead of commune with nature, I think would be a much more compelling feature. And again, only as a ritual. Like for example, if they left these as bear, eagle, and wolf, each one of these abilities would fall into that type of situation. Like if you wanted to just keep this eagle, when your rage is active, you get a fly speed equal to your speed, provided you aren't wearing any armor. This right here could easily be the ability for the wolf. This one could easily be the ability for the bear. Instead of being inconsistent, changing things around. And shoot, I still think that this ability of the eagle is more powerful than maybe even some of these. Maybe, obviously not the fly speed. Getting the fly speed is insane. But not I mean, other than some of these are changing the names and then changing some stuff around it. Yeah, it's interesting. I really hope they do make some changes to that. All right, now Path of the World Tree is the new path. Yggdrasil, Tree of Life, the World Tree. Vitality of the tree. When you activate your rage, you regain a number of hit points equal to your barbarian level. Again, giving out temp hit points every turn from other classes that have that ability already. Start of each of your turns while your rage is active, you can choose another creature within 10 feet of yourself to gain temporary hit points. To determine the number of temporary hit points, roll a number of d6s equal to your rage damage bonus and add them together. If any of these temporary hit points remain when your rage ends, they vanish. I mean, I definitely understand this aspect here. because you can rage multiple times, so you will gain a number of hit points equal to your barbarian level. I, Instinctively, at first, I think that it's a cool ability, but it needs a different way to calculate it, because a fighter has action, or not action, so second wind that they can only use after they can use once after a short. Then they get it back after a short rest, and they regain their hit points, a die 10 plus their fighter level on hit points. This obviously is not as powerful at lower levels. It becomes pretty powerful at higher levels, and this becomes insane at higher levels. Being able to grant someone 6d6 of temporary hit points is pretty strong. Obviously, they'd lose them after they vanish, but see, that's where we talked about general and specific rules. Obviously, temporary hit points, the way that it is right now, they don't disappear until you take a long rest. So this is, again, just going to confuse newer players, because somebody's going to be like, well, I thought that they stay until you finish long rest. So if they should change this more to a heal, but lessen the amount that it heals, because it's, talk about the vitality of the tree, and maybe make it more powerful as with your other levels of your abilities you're getting here. Okay, so level 6. Branch of the tree. While your rage is active, whenever your creature you can see is determined within 20 feet of you, you can use your reaction to summon a spectral branch of the world tree around it. The target must succeed on a strength save or be teleported to an unoccupied space you can see within 5 feet of yourself, or in the nearest unoccupied space you can see. A space the target teleports to must be on a surface or liquid that can support it. Otherwise, the target doesn't teleport. Yeah, now that it is going to clarify that any creature can voluntarily fail any saving throw. That is not specified in 5th edition that I don't believe, but most DMs still use that as a rule from previous editions. It's interesting because it's basically giving you a level 6 ability that has a twofold use. One, you can use it like Scorpion in Mortal Kombat, get over here, and pull an enemy close to you. Or you can use it to save a companion. So one of your companions get within 20 feet of you, you can use your reaction to, summon them closer to you, or like put them behind you or something. So, I don't know. Interesting idea. Not saying that I don't like it. I don't know, it just feels weird. Almost like it's doing too much. All right, battering roots. Tendrils of the world tree extend from your melee weapons. While you wield any melee weapon, your reach with that weapon increases by 10 feet. And when you hit with it, you can activate the push or topple property, even if you're using another mastery property with that weapon. Again, a little bit too much in there. It's already crazy as it is. I went through with the Bigby's Percentage Glory of the Giants came out with the new subclass that's in there for Barbarian, which is pretty cool. I already went through with my 20th level Barbarian, Bugbear, and rebuilt him to where he's got like a 25-foot reach on his turn or something crazy like that. And the whole concept of being able to active the weapon mastery, even if you're not using weapons with those properties, is a little bit too much. The extension and reach is just insane as it is. I would almost reword it that if you have weapon mastery that has push or topple, because I think push or topple probably, we'll have to check them out once we get to the glossary and such like that in the next few streams. But I'm pretty sure push and topple probably is within 5 feet of you. But this increases your reach by 10 feet, so you have 15-foot range. 20 foot if you're a bugbear. So I think bugbears extend their reach by 5 on their turn. So 20 feet if you're a bugbear, and then another farther reach of what, 25 or 30, something like that, when you have a like a pike or a halberd. Jeez. But level 10, I mean. And again, like I said, these are all play tests. This is I don't recall, like I said, this is a new one that they have introduced, this Path of the World tree. It might not even make it through playtest. It might not even go into any of the new books when they come out in 2024. And obviously there are a lot of players just as experienced as DMs and such that are experienced as I am that have definitely put in their feedback as well. Okay, travel along the tree. As an action, you touch a huge or larger tree in a teleportation circle to create a link through the world tree to a teleportation circle somewhere else on the same world or another plane of existence. When you do so, you can specify a target destination in general terms, such as the City of Brass on the elemental plane of fire. And you and up to 5 willing creatures within 30 feet of you appear at the teleportation circle closest to the destination. If you're going to give them a teleportation circle, they should be able to, especially if they can access it from a tree. I would recommend saying, okay, they have to, very similar to the way that wizards or sorcerers, whoever has access to the teleportation circle spell, can scribe down and learn teleportation circles. They should have it set up very similar to the Path of the World Tree Barbarian. Just the idea that you could say, hey, I'm going to go from this tree or a teleportation circle to, hopefully there's a teleportation circle here. And then, we're going to go to Sigil. And yes, unfortunately, it's not pronounced sigil, it's pronounced Sigil. The city in the Planescape. Yeah, I know. I prefer sigil as well. Once you finish this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. Spend 5 uses of your rage, choosing to activate this feature instead of rage. Not a fan of the Path of the World Tree Barbarian subclass. A lot of those seem really, I don't know. Someone just, I don't know. Not a fan of any of it, to be honest, of that subclass. All right, probably the last one we'll check out here. We got about 10 minutes left on the stream, and we got a couple of things to talk about towards the end. A small little announcement. But Path of the Zealot. I like the Path of the Zealot. We'll check that one out. Main updates from Xanathar's. Divine Fury now allows you to determine the damage type each time you deal the damage. Warrior of the Gods now includes the ability to regain additional hit points when healed by a spell or magic item. Zealot's Presence now allows you to use it multiple times between long rests by expending uses of your Rage. Rage Beyond Death now turns you into a warrior spirit after you successfully use your Relentless Rage. So before, I think it was just dice 6, but they added this in there, I believe, now. I could see. I think it was used to be just radiant, but I do completely understand the whole change to make it. You can choose necrotic or radiant. I wouldn't necessarily. No. Yeah, it's okay. That's all right. Warrior of the Gods, Divine Entity helps ensure you continue to fight. When a spell or magic item restores any of your hit points, you can roll a die 12 and regain additional hit points equal to the number rolled. Use this benefit a number of times equal to your Constitution modifier and regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. In addition, if a spell such as Raise Dead spell has the sole effect of restoring you to life, but not on death, the caster doesn't need material components to cast the spell on you, like Revivify, things like that. They don't have to have like the 300 gold pieces worth of diamonds, etc. I thought that the Zealot was fairly balanced, but adding this extra thing in is interesting. I don't know. I don't hate it, but I don't see the reason for it. You know what I mean? Like as I mentioned earlier, the level 6 where you get skills. This basically gives you a chance to reroll a save every time you use your rage, just once per rage. But when you're higher level, this gets pretty sweet, where you can do that 6 times a day when you've got 6 rages. Well, as a fighter has Indomitable, and then it increases to like you can reroll once, and then you can do it a second time, and I think maybe a third, but I think it's only 2 times as a fighter. It's like that's insane. What I would say is, as a better one, at least for me, to make it not as powerful and keep it on par with the other 6 level abilities, is like if you fail a saving throw while your rage is active, you can re-roll it and must use the new roll. If you use this feature, you lose one of your instances of rage. So you could, and you can't use this feature again until you finish a long rest or something like that, just to make sure that it's not that powerful. Because what ends up happening even later on, then if you look at, if a barbarian doesn't have any uses of rage, and they roll initiative, they can gain they can gain another use of rage. So not only can they use this ability, if they don't have any rages, they roll initiative, they gain a rage. They can just continue, like they could do this multiple times in a day, even more than the rages that they have, because they gain a expended use of rage. Seems a bit overpowering, especially as much as they're trying to nerf other classes. But we'll see how it plays out with the playtesting, of course. Zealot's Presence as a bonus action, release some battle cry infused with divine energy. You and I percent other creatures of choice. That's pretty close to what it was before, I believe. See, if they're going to make the class abilities into meta currencies, basically, that they can use to purchase getting something else back, it needs to be, hopefully they're going to, when all the playtest is done, all stuff like that, they're going to streamline that whole thing. Instead of, hey, you can have this so many times, you can use this so many times a day equal to your proficiency bonus, things like that. Change some things around to get the more standardized wording. And then finally, Rage Beyond Death. When your relentless rage successfully restores your hit points, you can assume the form of a spectral warrior. While in this form, you gain the following benefits. You have a fly speed equal to your speed, and you can hover. I mean, I'm all about barbarians having fly. My barbarian has winged boots with a huge reach. When you have a reach of 20 feet, 25 feet, and you're flying above everything that may not have ranged attacks, it's just crazy. But the whole concept of just giving multiple things flight is just, I don't know. but that's not too, doesn't seem too bad. Actually, it doesn't seem too bad. All right, well, that is done for the barbarian. We're going to go ahead and jot down the page. We're going to be on page 9 for the fighters. I'm going to make sure I don't scroll down too far to see all of that. We're on page 9. The fighters. Excellent, excellent. Angelus, hello, hello. They could do this all day. Exactly, exactly. Yeah, it's like I said, the path of the world tree. Don't even see any reason for having that path in D&D. Just myself. The abilities were just so all over the place, in my opinion, at least. Again, I mentioned the whole inconsistency with the path of the what's it called now? The path of it's not obviously not the totem warrior anymore. It's the path of the wild heart, path of the wild heart. Yeah, the inconsistencies of those abilities, not a big fan of it. But again, as I said, people will playtest it and they'll get their feedback. And again, my initial reactions to everything in the previous playtests have been altered and changed. To many times changed with the improvements and changes that I had suggested in the streams. But yes, first of all, thanks for everyone to stopping by today to check out our Tavern Talks at the Shifty Boar. Thanks, of course, to all of our supporters, especially our patrons from Patreon. If you'd like to help support the channel, please consider becoming a patron or subbing here on Twitch, twitch.tv/The Master of Dungeons. We love your Prime subs as well. If you have Amazon Prime and Prime Gaming, you can link that to your Twitch account and you get a free sub, one free sub every month. It's also September. There are discounts on subs right now. You have 20% off a 1-month sub, 25% off 3-month subs, and 30% off 6-month subs. And starting later in September 25th, I believe, you get 25% off gift subs as well. Link to our Patreon page, of course, if you would like to become a patron or check into it, as well as our YouTube channel and all of our other social media accounts can be found in the About Us section below here on Twitch. If you would subscribe to us on YouTube, we've got tons of videos up there. We have very few subscribers, only around 50 or so. If we can get that number up, that'd be awesome. Definitely like and comment and share the videos if you like them. Follow us on Facebook, give us some likes, retweets, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. Every like, sub, and share helps us immensely. As I mentioned before, if you want to, you can join the Master of Dungeons community Discord server in the About Us section below here on Twitch. Just click on that, and it will give you an invite to the Master of Dungeons community Discord server where you can help shape an accepting, caring, and inclusive community. Our merch store's open as well. We've got some t-shirts, some glassware, some hats, hoodies, things like that. That would definitely help support the channel. I did want to mention that we are going to have a scheduling change that's going to start tomorrow. We have our dungeon delving tomorrow at 2 p.m. from 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern. We do, for dungeon delving, we do play Baldur's Gate 3. We usually have that on Thursdays and Fridays. We're not going to have it this Friday because we do have our virtual D&D weekend, which you can still get tickets to. If you go to yawningportal.dnd.wizards.com, look for Master of Dungeons. Our logo is up there for DM Mitch Smithson. Buy some tickets. We also have the links available in our Discord chats, our channels as well. If you want to buy some tickets, definitely plenty of tickets still available at the moment. We won't have our normal live play on Sunday evening. Usually we have a live play from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern. We'll be back with that on September 24th with Angelus, who is here in the chat with us, coming back for us to play the new book, Phandelver and Below, The Shattered Obelisk. But this Sunday we will have we'll be running the Cauldron of Doom, live from the virtual D&D weekend. Hopefully, if we have enough players signed up for that, still a few tickets available. If we don't have enough of those sold, we probably won't stream that live, because the game might not actually get played. But if it doesn't get enough tickets, we'll still go ahead and stream something on Sunday evening. But as I mentioned, we'll be back with a live play on the 24th of September with the new adventure Phandelver and Below, The Shattered Obelisk. So the schedule changed. Starting next week on Monday, we'll still have our Monday night around the campfire stream from 8 to 11 p.m. But on Tuesday and Wednesday, our streams for Dungeons and Deliberations and our stream for Tavern Talks with the Shifty Boar are going to switch to 2 p.m. Eastern. To see if we can't get a little bit more traction in the viewership. I know it's really tough for people to tune in to the discussions of just chatting about DMing, D&D rules, things like that. Advice on that in the evenings, especially when there's live play games going on. So we're going to move all of our scheduled weekly streams to 2 p.m. except for our Monday stream and our Sunday stream. We'll keep those at 7 and 8 p.m. And then that will also open up some time for us to do some other live play games in the evenings, probably starting around 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock Eastern time, but we'll see where those go. But thanks for watching. Again, tomorrow we'll be playing some Baldur's Gate 3 starting at 2 p.m. Eastern right here on twitch.tv/The Master of Dungeons. And then we will have our virtual D&D weekend this weekend. So thank you for watching. And as always, have a great evening and happy adventuring. Take care.